You seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
That's it! You're locked in here with me!
All right. What is it? Tuesday night? Must be the Tuesday night radio Baloney Live. I am your host, Richie Baloney. How's everybody doing out there? Looks like we got Rosie and Izzy in the chat already. Good to see you guys. All right. So we got lots on the menu tonight. Let's go to the menu, see all the stories very quickly that we're going to talk about tonight. And then we'll go back to the chat, dole out some good karma, and then come back and deal with all these stories in detail. So first off, what have we got here? So Fetterman. I used to make fun of Fetterman. I feel bad about it now because he seems to, he had a stroke and he came out of it better. It seemed to have really straightened his brain out. So here he is talking about the lunatics, the communists that are taking over the Democrat Party. He's not a fan, and yeah, he shouldn't be. He absolutely should not be. What do we got here? So a bunch of Supreme Court decisions came down over the last couple of days. We're going to go through those. What do they mean? We are going to take a look at, oh, yes, the trade deal, the CUSMA, as it's called in Canada, USMCA, as it's called in the United States, but the trade deal between Canada, the United States, and Mexico. Well, the Canada United States part is not going very well at all. It looks like Trump is saying he's going to walk away from it, from the USMCA. It doesn't mean it won't exist anymore. It means it'll be reviewed every year for 10 years. Not a good thing for Canada. We're going to talk about that. And yeah, Mark Carney was the guy who was supposed to, he was supposed to be the Trump whisperer. He's the guy who knew how to deal with men like Trump. And we're going to have a deal by July 1st, 2025. None of that came true. Weird. So weird. I predicted all of that. Let's see. Canada land claims. Well, not going well. There was an appeal on the Cowichan case, and we'll get into this. Anyway, was that rejected? What do we got here? We got some woke mind virus stuff. Ooh, woke mind virus. So what do we have here? We have idiot celebrities spouting gibberish, and I'm going to prove them wrong. Let's see. We've got, what's this? This is woke Canada. Yeah, so we got another thing here on the crazy lady who's running for mayor of Hamilton, who brings up the sock puppet and talks to it. And she wants to be mayor, and it's not really a she, though. It's also a he that's pretending to be. Yeah, anyway, you know where this is going. It's Canada, folks. It's Canada. We've got meme reviews. We've got a meme review. Beautiful, beautiful meme review. Everybody loves these. We haven't done one of these, I think, in like a week or so. So this is a good timing. All right. Canadian immigration, and not getting any better. Yeah, they're still planning, and they are continuing to flood the country, the Liberal Party. But they're saying it out loud as well. The media doesn't really pay much attention to this, but they're just telling us, oh, yes, your country is going to be flooded. Canada is going to be, India Junior in 10 years. I shouldn't be laughing. It's not really very funny. Mark Carney net zero. So, and we've got some stuff on the pipeline to the new Alberta pipeline to the West Coast. You remember the MOU between Carney and Alberta, Daniel Smith and Alberta, and yeah, the proposal is going forward, is being submitted tomorrow by Daniel Smith, Premier of Alberta, in Alberta. He's going to be there. He's going to be at Edmonton, Carney, and nothing's going to happen, and I'll tell you why. Nothing is going to happen, and I'll tell you why. Yeah, so Carney's been taken for a ride by China. So we're taking in all those Chinese EVs so that they would remove the 100% tariffs that China placed on Canadian agricultural products. And yeah, you got a few months out of that. Now, 73.5% on more agricultural products. They're tightening the screws. Canada's being taken for a ride. And this should be humiliating for Carney, but I don't think anything is humiliating for him. I think it's all just part of the plan. He's fine with it. Then we have the last tab of the evening, and there's a bunch of stuff in here that you guys have sent in that I'm going to play. So when I'm showing you guys this stuff, don't blame me. It's your fault. There's actually not that much in there. So It won't last too long. And why is this not playing? Why is that not playing? That should be playing. There we go. Now, for anybody watching over on YouTube, please subscribe to the second channel, Radio Baloney News. We're just a couple of hundred subscribers away from monetizing this channel, which is important. I mean, I'm sure it won't make anything anyway, but let's just get it done. Then I can stop talking about it. It's the second channel. It's only been around about 10 months. I need you guys to go and subscribe to this channel. The algorithm is not helping me, obviously, not with the things that I talk about, the things that I say. Algorithm's not going to like that at all. The algorithm on YouTube is woke as hell. This is just for YouTube, by the way. Unlike Rumble, anywhere else, there's only one channel, but on YouTube, I split it up into two. Go and subscribe to Radio Baloney News, where all the clip videos go now. All the beautiful clip videos talking about Mom Donnie's commies and Trump deranged granny. That's hilarious. No air conditioning for Europe? That seems like a bad idea. Those people must be bananas. They must be losing their minds. Why would you not want air conditioning? Oh, net zero. I forgot. All right. Why is that not just auto-playing? It should just auto-play. There you go. All right. Now we're good. All right, let's get back to the chat. Now, as everybody knows, we're streaming on Rumble, YouTube, X, and Locals right now. And when you like the stream, you get free good karma, obviously. But when you're early liking the stream, you get extra. So what's going on here? Rosie looks like she got the first. That's 6 good karmas. Wow. So many good karmas. Rosie says, last day of the month, it will be a late night still working. Sorry to hear that. Izzy got like number 2. That's 5 good karmas. Wow. So many. You're going to be fine. You'll be just fine, Izzy. Let's see. How you doing, Rosie? Izzy says, I'm likely to fall asleep during the show again. Not quite sure how long I lasted, but no, I didn't catch the end of the last one. Well, I mean, there's no excuse for that. Smoke some meth. You'll be up like until the next stream and through that as well. Don't smoke meth. Don't smoke meth. I'm not saying smoke meth. Nobody do that. Strong coffee with no meth in it. Blah, 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 blah. Rosie says, that's okay. It was mostly blah, blah, blah. Rosie commented something awesome that blah, blah, blah. That's me. That's Richie Baloney. Blah, blah, blah. Thanks for showing up. All right. Denny, how you doing? Good to see ya. Nothing, damn it, Rosie worthy yet. Nothing yet. I'm gonna have to work for that. Let's see. Let's see. All right. I'm just trying to find something here that even makes sense in the chat, people, at this point. Rosie says, Richie, I still think you should let us make shorts for you, or maybe just the thumbnail for the shorts. I promise to have more than just chocolate, only actual physical shorts that I can wear. That's all I'm interested in. Let's see. All right, let's get on with it. Let's just get on with it. So what do we got going on here? So some people are noticing that the Democrat Party is being taken over by just absolute communists. Here's Senator Fetterman. He's blasting his own party for electing communist Daria Liza Avila Chevalier in New York, who praises dictators like Joseph Stalin. Well, there was 3 of them, 3 of these DSA, Democratic Socialists of America, who are all part of the Democratic Party. 3 of them that were backed by Mamdani won their primaries in New York. And let's just get a quick look. So first off, this Daria Liza, she doesn't seem very nice, I have to say. She spent much of her time in college organizing against the political right and is a hardline anti-Israel actor. She helped fund a group called Columbia University Apartheid Divest, which later caused a firestorm when it posted, quote, death to America in Farsi on X. That's a group she helped found. So I don't know. I think that politically, you would think politically, wanting death to the country that you're in, that you're running for office in, would be kind of a red flag. I would think that it would be. Let's see. The group faced whites as spread condemnation when it stated that it was, quote, fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization. Wow, the total eradication of Western civilization. It says here Colombia has distanced itself from the group. Have they really, though? They probably have like a course that's titled Total Eradication of Western Civilization Studies. Probably. There's tons in here. Let's see. She's called her home country an effing disgrace. I forgot to get napkins, so I just wiped my hand on the American flag behind me. She posted a rabid anti-borders activist and has argued for completely abolishing police and prisons. She says all deportation is wrong and she wants to literally abolish the border. Let's see. Oh, she hates white women as well. But she's clearly a communist. And let's go back to Fetterman here. Let's take a look. And this was posted by Overton here. So what is he saying?
I mean, she was praising Kim and Stalin. I mean, between those two men, 100 million, people murdered, like some of the most evil and terrible people, in the world or in history. And she was praising them, saying we don't have enough of their books, in our libraries. And of course, she deleted those things. But this is not ancient history. This is all recent views that people like this we are electing. I mean, she was praising.
That's because she's a communist. That's why. There's lots of communists in the Democratic Party now. In fact, across the Western world, there are lots of communists in left-wing parties now. It's just a fact. They're not hiding it particularly well. Well, I deleted that tweet about me admiring Stalin. I deleted it like yesterday. That was like 3:00 yesterday. Let's see. Jesse Waters points out that the big tent talking points have gone out as Democrats, or this is from Owen Gregorian here. Jesse Waters points out that the big tent talking points have gone out as Democrats try to explain away the rise of the DSA. Let's take a look here.
The Democrat Party is a machine, and the donors tell you what policy you have to do. The superdelegates choose the nominee, and then they all get talking points. That's why every day you hear Big Tent, Big Tent, Big Tent. All right? They all say the same thing. But they've screwed up, and the country's now pissed. The party's pissed because what they did nothing. They made life more expensive and just focused on Mexicans and Ukrainians. And that let the communists creep in. And they've lied. And now we caught them with another lie. They have been denying they've been communists for decades. No, we're not communists. We love America. We're for strong borders. We love the police. All of a sudden, the communists start.
Love America? Are you sure they don't love, where is it? Are sure they don't love the total eradication of Western civilization? That would include America, by the way. All right.
Winning, and they're like, Big Tent. Come on in. They don't believe in anything except power. What did we hear after Kamala lost? The Democrats need to define who they are, right? You can't just be anti-Trump. What do Democrats stand for? And we covered this whole process. We covered it for a year and a half, Dana. They were going to have to start going to football games. They were going to stop talking about trans. They were going to fund the police, not defund the police.
They had to farm for oysters.
That's right. All right. We're working class. And now commies start winning and they're like, Viva la revolution. That was fast. All of a sudden. So the Democrats have more in common with communism than the Republicans have in common with fascism. And they think they can cobble some winning coalition together. Kennedy is exactly right. The communists are going to steal the Democrat banner to get on the ballot. They're going to win. They're going to caucus with them when it works. And then here comes the purge. And the purge is going to be ugly. And the establishment is going to get purged. So you're going to have money versus passion. And that's a fight they have to have, but that's a fight they can't afford because they are dead broke.
Yeah, there was a brief period there where people were saying that woke was dead. It was over. No, I mean, maybe Hollywood is slightly less woke. Maybe advertising is a little bit less woke now. You know, I don't think that Bud Light's going to be hiring any new any new non-binary people for their advertising campaigns. But no, the serious activists, they don't stop. They're working all the time. They are infiltrating, the halls of power. And right now, that's the Democratic Party. This is, by the way, the same in every Western country. It's exactly the same. They all think the exact same things. They all hate Western civilization, regardless of which Western civilization country you're in, right? But those people never sleep. They're constantly working to seize power so that they can destroy your life and turn your country into North Korea. What's this one?
With me now is a member of the House Democratic Caucus, Congressman Seth Moulton from Massachusetts. He's also running for Senate. Congressman, good to see you again. What's your thought on what you heard there from James Carville? That these are not Democrats. Is the tent big enough for?
Well, Carville is right in that they're not what Hillary Clinton was saying even 20 years ago, right? They're not that. Right? They're not it's not your father's Democrat Party anymore, right? This is just turning into a Bolshevik party, a communist revolution party, a totalitarian Marxist party.
Daria-Liza Villa-Chevalier.
I mean, look, we've got to have a Big Ten if we want a majority. And the reality is that while the media and a lot of talking heads like to try to point out all the differences here, there are a lot of things that we're united on. Like, let's make sure that we stop ICE from terrorizing our cities.
So let's make sure. So totally reasonable things like let's just have essentially open borders and not enforce immigration law. Totally reasonable stuff like that, And I guess also the total eradication of Western civilization, too. Because what else does that mean? Right? What else does that mean? If you don't have borders, you don't have a country.
I've said ICE not only needs to be abolished, they need to be prosecuted. I think there's a lot of Democrats who would agree on that.
With me now is a member of...
It's amazing that he thinks that that's like a moderate position. Prosecuting border enforcement officials, like immigration law officials. He thinks this should be terrifying. Like for Democrat, like if you're like an old school liberal, right, who agreed with everything that Bill Clinton said, this should be terrifying to you, right? Like this is what the moderate position is now. Wow.
Let's talk about the future of the Democratic Party. We saw a number of progressives in New York City win elections last week. Some even describe themselves as socialists. Where do you see the future of the party? Is there enough room in your party for everyone from moderate Republicans to people that describe themselves as socialists?
I am absolutely a big tent person who believes in diversity of viewpoints, who believes in finding common ground on our values.
Yes, you got to find some common ground on that. Total eradication of Western civilization. Wow.
And fighting for people.
Let's talk about the future of the Democratic Party.
Is that F-Duck or F-Duck? Whatever it is, welcome to the chat. Good to see you. Let's see. Let's move on. I think we got one more.
Mamdani said those victories prove that the DSA has a durable movement. Among the positions that these candidates have advocated for are ending all support for Israel, ending prisons, ending police, no borders. Now, you've worked hard to be a progressive who can represent all of Georgia, all of a purple state. Are you worried at all about the impact that these positions of some DSA members could have on the Democratic Party's ability to win a majority in November?
Jake, I have to tell you that if I were a Republican this morning, I would be deeply worried because they're having an argument about who is the most loyal to Donald Trump. We are a big tent party focused on the ordinary concerns of everyday Americans.
Mamdani said those victories prove that the DSA has a durable movement.
So no worries. No worries. They're sure to achieve their goal of destroying Western civilization. So absolutely no worries. Let's see. Like Jago, the DSI. So it's just fuck. I like it. I like it. I like the way you think. All right. Let's see. All right. I think that's all the videos of them that we need to see. What is this here? So Donald Trump, Eric Doherty posted this. President Trump just posted Stephen Miller dropping this truth nuke for every American to hear. This, it's really for every like sane person in the Western world to hear. But let's watch.
The Democrat Party, Sean, as you've covered better than anybody, has become a party of Marxist, communist, socialist, violent extremists, and yes, violent revolutionaries who support the policies that are getting Americans killed in mass, historically for many years now, and of course it accelerated under the Biden administration, by criminal illegal aliens. This is a party that supports violence against ICE officers, supports violence against federal law enforcement, and engages in conduct and rhetoric and behavior that leads to repeated assassination attempts against President Trump, against President Trump supporters, and against Republican elected office holders. It is a terrifying reality, but one we cannot turn away from, ignore. We cannot put our heads in the sand and pretend the Democrat Party of the 90s or the 80s or the 70s exists anymore, because it is gone, Sean. It is gone, and it is not coming back.
Yeah, it's the same kinds of people are in left-wing parties in Canada, mainstream left-wing parties in Canada, in the UK, in France, every Western country, right? They're definitely in the media. They've completely taken over. They've completely taken over academia across the Western world. Right? It's really, this is a warning for really everybody. And I think that there is, Trump's message of, aside from everything else, right? The one overarching thing that I think historians will talk about is that it's a reaffirmation of the value of Western civilization. That is really the overarching point of Donald Trump. And all of the things he does stem from that. And the rest of the world should be paying attention, because that's good and that's a noble thing. Let's see. All right. I mean, fighting for the total eradication of Western civilization. I mean, it says it all right there, doesn't it? Right? Says it all right there. All right. Let's get rid of these two tabs. Let's go back to the chat for a second, actually. Hold on. We're 24 minutes in already. Wow. Okay. Spambot, how you doing? All right. Spambot is working again tomorrow. Hardest working man in the chat. No day off for me. He says, I don't care about Canada Day. I only care about Alberta Day. Well, Spambot is an Alberta separatist, so that is not a surprise. Let's see. Rosie sent in here is a calming short I made. All right, let's take a look. Let's do a link monkey. All right, hold on. Let me get this link up from Rosie. What do we got? Calming short. Let's take a look. Oh, well, this is nice. Oh, listen to that. That's nature.
U.S. Attorney's offices.
Now, I usually like my nature videos with like in trees and stuff to have like shrieking baboon noises all the way through it. But this is actually pretty relaxing too. Nice work. All right. All right. Now, what are you guys talking about? All right. All right. Let's move on. let us move on, people. What do we got here? So this is kind of an addendum to the last thing. This was an actual defense of Zohran Mamdani on CNN Newsnight. He jumps in a pool with kids. This was from Steve Guest. So let's see. Zohran Mamdani, just to remind you, okay, this is Zohran Mamdani here, telling you what he really wants, what his end goals are.
Level of support at this very moment. And what I want to say is that it is critical that in the way that we organize, in the way that we set up our work and our priorities, that we do not leave any one issue for the other, that we do not meet a moment and only look at what people are ready for, but that we are doing both of these things in tandem, because it is critical for us to both meet people where they're at and to also organize. And we have to ensure that we are unapologetic about our socialism. There are also other issues that we firmly believe in, whether it's BDS, right? Or whether it's the end goal of ceasing the means of production.
Hold up. What was that? The guy who's a socialist, not a communist. What did he say?
Believe in, whether it's BDS, right? Or whether it's the end goal of ceasing the means of production.
Seizing the means of production. There is not a more commie thing that somebody can say than that. That is as commie as it gets. If somebody ever mentions to you with a big smile on their face how they want to seize the means of production, that person is a commie, a dirty, dirty commie. There's no two ways around it. I mean, it's kind of the whole commie thing, right? Like stealing everything, right? In any case, what do they have to say about this guy on CNN here? Let's take a look.
How happy New York is right now? Do you know how cool it is to see your mayor? Do you know how cool it is to see your mayor jump in a pool with kids?
I don't give a damn
because
about the mayor jumping in the pool.
Yeah,
I care about the future of New York. I care about my safety. I care about my children's life.
Homicides are down in New York City.
Yeah.
Rent freezes are happening. Campaign promises are being delivered.
They're punishing capitalism.
You're saying
New York is a city of capitalism with a socialist mayor. He's going to drive everyone to Panama.
No,
he's going to drive everyone to
not.
Puerto Rico.
Population.
How many billionaires are already leaving?
Yeah, I just think that y'all are missing the plot.
Rent freezes are coming. What a wonderful thing. I mean, we've already covered this on the channel before, how this doesn't actually work. It'll make things worse. It will actually cause housing shortage. But I guess nobody knows anything. Nobody bothers to learn anything. And hey, he jumped in a pool in his suit. So that's fun. Everybody's happy, right? I mean, when is anything not turned out awesome when it's been run by a communist? When is that? Oh, wait a second. Every single thing. I don't know. Are these people aware that North Korea exists right now? All right. All right. Let's move on. Ringa says, ending the country like a dirty communist. Dirty communist. That's what happens. Let's see. Danny says, I still support Alberta Spambot. I do as well. All right, let's get into the Supreme Court decisions. First off, let's just go over them. I just asked Grok to do a rundown on all of them. So yesterday, it was Trump versus Slaughter. That held that for-cause removal protections for the FTC chair violate separations of powers. So Trump won that one. And what it means is that for-cause removal protections. So that is that you could only fire the head of an agency or a commission if they're grossly incompetent or some sort of malfeasance has happened. That is being ruled unconstitutional. Trump can fire people, for instance, if they are just standing in the way of his policy. So if they are just obstructing the administration, he can get rid of them. And that sounds perfectly reasonable. I mean, people vote for a president for a reason, right? Let's see. Here's another one. Upheld a Mississippi law allowing mail-in ballots postmarked by Election Day to be counted for up to several days later. So this was a very bad decision in which I think that the United States was betrayed by Barrett because she was the vote that got this through. Yeah, terrible. I mean, it's just common sense that the reason that you wouldn't allow any votes to be counted after Election Day would be because it doesn't give one side or the people running the election the chance to see how many votes do we need, right, to win. If we're behind, how many do we actually need? Now, that just opens up the door to fraud there, right? So whether or not it's, mail-in ballots postmarked by Election Day, well, when you've got mail-in ballots, immediately you've got problems with chain of custody. And these are all things that other countries don't do. And the reason is because it compromises election integrity. So this seems to me a terrible decision. Another big one here. Struck down President Trump's executive order attempting to limit birthright citizenship. Does it make sense to have, birth tourism so people can just, as long as they're on American soil when the baby is born, that person is a citizen forever? Then you can leave, you can take the kid back, but that kid's going to be an American citizen. They can just return 50 years later and run for president. It doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. And also, too, you can, return and be eligible for all kinds of benefits that you never paid into. So it doesn't make a lot of sense, but another bad decision, it looks like. And the argument against it was that the purpose originally was for freed slaves. It wasn't supposed to be anybody can just show up. Here's another, this is a lesser one, but it's still, this is still important. Upheld state bans on transgender girls participating in girls' or women's school sports. 6-3. Grok, you could just say boys, men, right? You could just say that because that would be accurate. So these are the major ones. And let's go and take a look at what some of the commentary is. Eric Doherty posted this. President Trump says the Supreme Court has treated Republicans fairly and that we will right the wrong of birthright citizenship through Congress. Well, let's take a look. Donald Trump, the biggest and most consequential decision issued by the court thus far is the Slaughter case, which overturned the very famous Humphrey executor rule. The whole concept of power has been fought over for nearly 100 years, going all the way back to Franklin Delano Roosevelt, where a large slice of his power was taken away. He fought to regain it, even wanting to, quote, pack the court, but was unsuccessful in doing so. This decision gives tremendous additional power back to the presidency where it belongs. So, it's really about not allowing unelected officials, essentially bureaucrats, from blocking the will of the people, the democratic will of the people. It is an honor to be the sitting president who, after all these years, won this very important and hard-fought case. We had other good victories too, and we also had the birthright citizenship loss. Which we will correct in Congress. But the big slaughter was slaughter. The Republican Party was treated very fairly by the United States Supreme Court. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So he's taking, as positive of an approach on this as possible, which is kind of surprising that he says that, but it's not usually his way. But will Congress do anything? I mean, that's the question, right? A lot of people would say it's not likely. Edward T. Winslow says, nobody is telling you what SCOTUS actually handed Trump today. The headlines say Trump wins right to fire FTC commissioner. That's the smallest version of the story. Let's see. Democrats spent the last 4 years loading those commissions, all the different commissions, with commissioners specifically designed to block Trump's agenda from inside his own executive branch. Rebecca Kelly Slaughter was one of them. Fired March 2025. She sued. Today, she lost. So he can do this and with every, essentially bureaucrat that's trying to block his policies. Let's take a look here.
That had to do with a case by the name of a woman, Rebecca Slaughter. And the question was whether or not the president had the power to take independent federal agencies, the heads of those agencies, off of their job without cause. Professor, it sounds like there's a bit of a contradiction the way I'm reading it. Go ahead and clarify it. Lisa Cook can keep her job, but others like Rebecca Slaughter cannot.
Well, at issue in this case, obviously I've not read the opinions as it just came out, but at issue in the case was a rather old and established precedent called Humphrey's Executor. And in that decision, the Supreme Court said that Congress could create a type of hybrid creature within the executive branch, could create a commission that the president cannot dictate who are members of, can remove those members. It barred that. It said that, in fact, Congress could create one that insulated the members from a sitting president. That has always been controversial because many scholars and many judges have said, look, you don't see any of that in the Constitution. There's no hybrid animals. There's no legislative branch, an executive branch, a judicial branch. So if they ruled against Slaughter and in favor of the administration, that would be a significant increase in executive power. And in combination with the immigration cases that were just handed down, it would be a particularly good week or so for the administration. This was a bit of a surprise we just saw in that Election Day decision. That was 5-4. It was a real Burma shave. But it came out against the GOP. This one would be actually very welcome news, even if Humphrey's executor were to survive for the administration.
It looks like Humphrey's executor is overruled, but let's get to Shannon Bream. She's been taking a look at this. And you have, in particular, Shannon, you're looking at the FTC case, which seems to have been a win for the Trump administration.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. What do we have? Okay, we got already seen that. All right, here's Clarence Thomas. And he's not happy. He's the dissenting voice in the decision on birthright citizenship. Let's hear what he has to say.
Progressivism seeks to replace the basic premises of the Declaration of Independence, and hence our form of government. It holds that our rights and our dignities come not from God, but from government. It requires of the people a subservience and weakness incompatible with a constitution premised on the transcendent origin of our rights.
Well, it is, it just seems like something that is designed to weaken your country, right? Just giving citizenship, birthright citizenship, opening the door to essentially, birth tourism. You're kind of weakening the connections between the country and the citizens. The roots, if there's not really the roots there, I think it probably hurts the whole foundation of the country. He's not happy about it. He says the Constitution does not support birthright citizenship for these foreign invaders, as Eric Doherty says. So that's a loss right there. Let's see. Hold on. All right, we already saw that. Oh, from June 25th, the Supreme Court has handed President Trump 2 massive 6-3 victories in one day, and the left is panicking. This is from Brigitte Gabriel. Haitian TPS terminated. 350,000 here on temporary status can now be deported. The courts cannot stop it. Well, what is the problem? I mean, Conan O'Brien went to Haiti and stayed in a 5-star resort there and swam in the ocean and said it's awesome. And leftists seem to think Haiti's a great place. So what's the problem? Heaven on earth. Let's see. According to them, asylum seekers turned away at the southern border before they set foot on U.S. soil. If you're still in Mexico, you have no right to apply. This all just makes perfect sense to me. All right. But these decisions were a little bit earlier. Again, this post was June 25th. All right. What do we got here? What's this? All right. Let's go back to the chat for a second. And boom. All right. What are you guys talking about? Ringa says socialists and communists are the same shit, same ass, but different cheeks. Is that cheeks or check? Cheeks? Well, it's, the communists take cover under the term socialist, right? Then they pretend that what they want is like Sweden, which isn't even really a socialist country. It has some socialist programs, just as the United States does right now. But yeah, I mean, it's becoming more and more obvious that the socialism is a mask for the real goal, which is communism. Dravis, how you doing? Late again, 8th like out of 12th. So that would be 1.25 good karmas. That's pretty good. Wow. All right. Let's see. What do we got next? So what do we have here? It looks like there's going to be it looks like there's going to be uncertainty in the Canadian economy because it looks like there's going to be uncertainty in the Canadian economy for the foreseeable future. Looks like the US is going to not renew USMCA for the next 16-year period. It's going to go to a yearly review, which again, that's just uncertainty, which means no money is going to be flowing into Canada in investment, because if you can't sell things to the States from Canada, well, that's the whole that's the whole promise, right? If you're like going to manufacture anything at great scale, it's that for it's for the Canadian market, but also for the American market, right? That's how it becomes really profitable. So tomorrow is the review for USMCA, or CUSMA as we say in Canada, and yeah, it doesn't look good. Here from Washington Times, from the Washington Times, Trump expected to exit USMCA trade pact with Canada and Mexico. Now, the difference between Canada and Mexico in this is that Mexico has been working very hard consistently the entire time since Trump got back into office, working on trade, essentially, finding compromises. Canada has not. There's been nothing happening between Canada and the U.S. since October last year. Nothing, and it's seemingly on purpose. This is going to be a much bigger problem for Canada than Mexico. The Trump administration is expected to formally announce Wednesday that it will not renew the U.S.-Mexico-Canada Trade Pact, kicking off a decade-long process to end the North American Free Trade Zone, and an agreement President Trump implemented during his first term. The USMCA is set to automatically expire on July 1st, 2036, unless all 3 member countries agree to formally renew it for an additional 16 years. So it won't mean the agreement is completely gone. It just means it's going to get reviewed every year, which means uncertainty for the Canadian economy. Let's see. If any country declines the extension, the agreement enters a cycle of annual reviews over the next decade. If all three countries agree to extend the USMCA for 16 years, another review would be scheduled for 2032. Okay. The heads of trade for the U.S., Canada, and Mexico will meet virtually on Wednesday to determine whether they want to extend the pact. Canada has urged the U.S. and Mexico to renew the pact, although the Canadian parties involved, trade parties involved, including the Prime Minister, have done nothing to achieve that goal. It almost seems like they've been trying to sabotage it. This is a big, big problem for Canada, a massive problem for Canada and the Canadian economy. And, Mark Carney told us, and the media told us that, he was the man who knew how to deal with men like Trump. And we were supposed to he promised, this is all going to be resolved July 1st last year. Well, that blew by. And then by October, just nothing happened. Just nothing has happened since then, apparently. That's according to the U.S. side of the negotiation. They're just saying that there's nothing. Canada doesn't seem interested, actually. Madness. Total and utter madness. And again, this is going to be a very, very bad thing. What is Mark Carney saying about it? Hold on. Where is Mark Carney in this? Hold on. I've got him in here somewhere. All right. Let's hear Mark Carney. This was posted by Gen Xer. I mean, this is really kind of apocalyptic, actually. This is not good at all.
Nice to see you. Rachel Aiello, CTV News. So we've heard from a lot of different partners about what we should be expecting with the CUSMA deadline tomorrow. I'm curious what you're expecting.
Well, as you know, there's a virtual meeting with the three partners tomorrow. We're expecting, a constructive exchange. I wouldn't expect any drama tomorrow. I'm not looking for my pen. And I am looking forward, though, to being both in, actually three places, Nepean, in Ottawa, and Edmonton tomorrow for Canada Day.
Nice to see you. Rachel Aiello.
Just madness. Like, this is his, he seems totally fine. Totally fine. Like, how many hundreds of thousands, millions of jobs is this going to cost? This uncertainty. It's baffling. Like, is he taking this seriously? Does he care? I don't think he does. I think he's planning to be in office till 2029. He's going to loot the country. He's going to max out the national credit card to provide subsidies for all of his net zero finance goals for himself and for Brookfield. And then he'll be gone. And then the only question at that point will be, which castle in Europe does he choose to live in? That'll be it. Spambot says, why is he coming to Edmonton tomorrow? Because of the MOU. Danielle Smith is putting forward her proposal, although there's no private backer at this point, which there won't be with all the poison pills in the MOU. That's why he's going to Edmonton tomorrow. So, and he'll go and he'll talk out of both sides of his mouth too, just depending on who he's talking to. And it'll be a big nothing. Yeah. What do we have underneath here, though? Hold on. One other thing. Where is it? Hold on. Oh, yeah. Look at this. Table Salt posted this. Canada's Minister of Industry learns live on the air that Trump is set to sunset USMCA. This is the Minister of Industry. These are the people that Carney has surrounded himself with.
News here 30 seconds ago. Of course, I'll have the chance to talk with the Prime Minister and the Minister in charge of U.S.-Canada trade. And when we'll have more to say, we'll have more to say. These are information through a media source. And of course, we'll be waiting for any...
How does she not know this the second that it happens? The second, even just a rumor. How does she not know that? Amazing. I mean, but this helps explain why Canada is in the state that it's in. I thought I had one more thing from Carney. Hold on. What was this one? Hold on. Hold on. Oh, yes, I do. Here he is. Mark Nixon. Mark Carney says Justin Trudeau's climate policy was perfect for its time. All right, let's hear what he's saying here. So I believe in this clip, he's, again, talking out both sides of his mouth. Let's take a look.
I promised you I wouldn't sugarcoat tough messages. The climate plan we inherited from the previous government was well-intentioned and well-suited for the times in which it was designed. The climate crisis is still with us, and our commitment to fighting it is absolute. The certainties of the world of 2015 are long gone. Our neighborhood hasn't been this hostile since when Canada was founded. The world hasn't been this unstable geopolitically since the end of the Second World War. We must establish stability amidst this chaos. The energy transition will be a source of great stability in the long run.
So what he's doing here, this is just politics. So he's trying to trick conservative Canadians into thinking that he's some sort of a moderate and that he's in favor of like getting a new pipeline done. If he were in favor, if he really wanted it to happen, that MOU wouldn't have the poison pills in it about the carbon capture, which makes the project too expensive for any private party to want to invest in it. It wouldn't have the condition that like every indigenous group in the country would have to be on board with it. Those things mean that it's not going to happen, right? That's in his memorandum of understanding regarding the pipeline with Alberta, right? So this is just politics. This is just trying to trick the Canadian people again.
But while it's underway, it can equally be a source of disruption. No country is better positioned to thrive in both eras than Canada. And we need not allow the transition from one era to another to pull us apart. The goal remains the same, but as times have changed, we must change our plan to get there. We can't afford to restrain the growth of an important part of our energy mix, oil and gas, to meet a short-term goal. I want to be clear on this point. The changes we have made will mean that our emissions will be higher in the next few years than they were projected to be under the previous government's plan.
Well, they've been going up anyway. They went up all through Trudeau. So, hello?
In my judgment, that plan was not sustainable over the long term. It would have been too expensive for Canadians who are already struggling with affordability. It would have let down our party.
Well, if you think this means that he's going to get rid of all of the carbon capture stuff and all the regulations and the carbon taxes, no, he's not doing any of that. Apparently, that makes us more competitive somehow.
Partners who need new sources of energy, and it would do so right at the time when we need them to help us become more independent of the United States. And it would have been too divisive for our country. In the current environment, the old plan was an open opportunity for those people who wish to pull Canada apart.
The old plan is still the same. The new plan is the old plan. It was your plan, Mark Carney. Remember when you were economic advisor to Justin Trudeau from 2020 onwards? Remember that? The new plan is the old plan. Like, why do people buy this stuff? It's just incredible. How can anybody buy anything that this guy says? It's all just nonsense, and it means nothing. And what has he done? You got an MOU proposal for a new pipeline to the West Coast that has poison pills in it that mean that there's no private energy company is going to come and want to invest in it because of the uncertainty and because of the added cost, right? The stuff that nobody else has to do. You don't have to do it in the States. Nobody else is doing it. The Middle East isn't doing it. Europe right now is buying oil and natural gas from anywhere they can get it. You think Russia's doing all this? Doing carbon capture and worried about emissions? The United States isn't. Middle East isn't. You think Venezuela's worried about it? No, nobody is. It's just us for some reason. Somehow, according to Mark Carney, it makes us more competitive. It's all just nonsense. It's just gibberish. from a con man, Mark Carney, whose goal is to bolster net zero climate finance and funnel taxpayer funds and borrowed money. Because don't forget, he doubled the deficit over what Trudeau wanted to do. Trudeau, of all people, he doubled the deficit over that, and he continues to keep doing that in the years over the next, over the next like 3-4 years, over the rest of the years of his prime ministership. Yeah, it's his incentives are not our incentives. His incentives are the same as Brookfield's incentives, unsurprisingly. All right. And by the way, hold on a second. Actually, we're not getting there yet. Hold on. Where were we? All right. So, yes, the trade deal not going well. Let's get rid of these tabs. Let's get back to the chat for a second. And then we'll have more depressing news. All right. What's going on? What are you guys talking about? Let's see. Rosie says there is no late. Now the party can begin. LOL. Well, that's right. It's never too late for the party to begin. Let's start partying. Rosie says, I'm still working. We'll return later. Well, we'll look forward to you. Nevada got the 9th like, so that's 1.19 good karmas. Wow. Little bit extra. Spambot says, I was number 6 when I joined, so that was 1.92 good karmas. Wow. Very nice. Like the stream now and get your good karma. Spambot says, and usually the only like on locals. Well, we don't get many viewers on locals, but that was also an extra 60 good karma. So that's 7 point whatever I just said. Wow. Let's see. Canada should join China. Carney's in the process of of uniting Canada into the Chinese New World Order, as he said literally on camera in Beijing. But in any case, Canada should join China. They both start with the letter C and end with A. Lots of similarities. Fuck no. And that's a fuck with a silent D. Yeah, it's total madness. We've actually got some China stuff, China stuff coming up. So hang around for that. But yeah, Carney is, he loves China. He loves China. Got that big loan from a Chinese bank to bail out a Brookfield real estate project. $250 million from a Chinese bank. That was right before he became prime minister. Right before. Yeah. I think leaders like Mark Carney look at China and drool at the totalitarian control that they see there, because they've still got capitalism, but it's capitalism with Chinese characteristics, which means the government is always watching it, and it's at the behest of the government at all times. Right? Every company with I think it's over 50 employees or something, has to have a Chinese Communist Party office at their headquarters. I think somebody like Mark Carney, a central planner like Mark Carney, looks at that and with just drools at the idea of that much control. And yeah, people can't complain either. That's awesome. People can't complain while they ruin their lives. While the government ruins their lives. So obviously that would be appealing to somebody like Mark Carney, who must know that he's wrecking this country. But anyway. Spambot says Mark's carnage. Some people call him Mark's carnage. Cannot open trade. I won't allow their dairy cartel to be threatened. That's a sticking point with the United States as well. But it's not one they talk about that much. I'm not sure it's as big as a problem for them. I think that the problem they've had is that there was an allowance, a quota, but they weren't even being afforded that under the existing agreement. I think that was their main complaint. But yeah, it's not good. I mean, other countries don't like it either, right? Other countries we trade with also don't like the dairy cartel. Let's see. Bambot says, is he campaigning to convince more Albertans to vote for option 2? Why is he coming to Edmonton tomorrow? Yeah, he's going because of he's going to lie to Albertans about pipelines. That's what he's doing there. What do we got next? What are we, an hour into this already? Wow. So let's take a look at, you know what? I want to take a break from the news. Let's just take a look at just random stuff in this last, don't actually have much in here. After 2 hours of staring at the lake, I realized it was the neighbor's fence. It does look exactly like a lake though, doesn't it? That's fun. Actually, we don't have much actually in this tab. Normally I have way more fun stuff. Let's take a look at this. We can't know until later in the stream because it's got music on it. All right, never mind. Let's just do the boring news. Canada land claims. So if Canada didn't have enough problems, we've got crazy rulings in courts. We've got crazy land claims. We have the concept of private property itself under threat in Canada. Pierre Poilievre posted this. More chaos. Mark Carney has refused to defend property rights in court. Property owners are helpless to defend their home and their property because of his Liberal government. The Prime Minister must direct federal lawyers to defend private property rights and make sure title to your home and property is secure. Yeah, Carney is not doing that in these land claims court, in these land claims legal battles, in these land claims cases. What do we have here? BC Supreme Court rejects company's bid to reopen landmark Cowichan title case. Victoria News, court declines to reopen Cowichan Tribe's case to add private landowner Montrose. So this is the case where 800 acres of Richmond, BC, just outside of Vancouver, was Aboriginal title was handled to a native group, and it's still kind of up in the air what exactly that means, but the judge made it pretty clear that rests on top of fee simple. And in Canada, fee simple just means that you own the house or you own the property and you can do what you like there. This throws that all up in the air, right? So if Aboriginal title lands on top of that, well, for one thing, you're not going to be able to renew your mortgage. You're not going to be able to do anything. You're not going to be able to get any equity out of it. You're going to have a very hard time selling your property because who knows really what that means, what that will mean, right? And with, activist courts in Canada, it really could mean anything. I mean, it could mean the worst you could think of. That's where all this is going. I mean, our institutions all across the Western world, institutions are in no shortage of radical activists. That includes judges. This means the court will not revisit Young's August 7th, 2025 decision issuing a declaration of Aboriginal title on parcels of land in Richmond once used by the Cowichan tribes as a seasonal fishing village. The Court of Appeal can now decide whether to hear the various appeals, but there are several, and Montrose may be able to participate as an intervener, but lacking a stay order, the title declaration will now be implemented. So there was one party that wanted to be included in the process, and so they appealed on that. There will be other appeals, but Canada's crazy. I mean, there's no reason to think this won't be the worst case scenario. What do we have here? The BC government has since announced up to $150 million in financial backing for Montrose and other private landowners affected by the title decision. There's been $150 million of investment. That's just gone. That just went up in smoke. So 95% of British Columbia is vulnerable to this kind of lawsuit, these kinds of actions, right? $150 million is, for one thing, just a drop in the bucket just for Richmond. But the entire province, that's $2 trillion worth of property, right? This is, if this continues, if it keeps going, British Columbia will become a third world country within Canada. Let's see. Hold on. Was there something in here else that I wanted to see? All right. I think that's everything. Was there anything down here at the bottom? No. All right. So anyway, it's all just bad news. And by the way, Mark Carney handed Aboriginal title to most of Vancouver. Vancouver, one of the most important cities in Canada. He handed Aboriginal title to. Nobody really knows exactly what that means yet, but it ain't gonna be good. So yeah, Canada's in a spot of trouble, I would say. All right. Let's get rid of those tabs. All right. What do we got going on now? So let's take a look at these celebrity dingbats here. They know nothing. Like, nobody should ever listen to a celebrity on anything of consequence ever, right? If they're giving advice on how to pretend to be other people, right? Well, I would listen to that. That's their expertise, right? Reading lines that other people wrote for them. Anything else, just even if they agree with you politically, just kind of write it off, right? Just write it off. Just say, well, but they don't really know anything. I mean, they know about pretending to be other people. That's pretty much it. Breitbart News posted this. Edward Norton rejects American exceptionalism and praises China as more eco-friendly than the West. Did I mention they know nothing? Because we're going to get into this. Let's take a look here. So again, spoiler alert here. He's wrong.
China is on its way to being the first, petro zero economy. I mean, they are going to be the first electro superpower,
which we could have been.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Now we're going to have to buy it from them when this goes away and we come to our senses.
Okay, I just got to stop it right here. Just so much idiocy. So much idiocy immediately. All right, so let's take a look here. Shares of electricity production by source in China. Coal is at 54.35%. Coal in the United States, 16.2%. Let's see. Natural gas is 43.1%. That's 50% less emissions than coal. But China has 54.35% of their emissions from coal. So this isn't really squaring with what the two celebrity dingbats are saying there. Now, if you take a look at fossil fuels total, 60% in the United States, and it's 59.5 according to this in China. But they're burning way more coal in China, way more coal, way more emissions in China. In fact, hold on, CO2 emissions by country. China, 33.12%. United States, 11.69%. And the United States still has a bigger economy than China. And I believe this number has actually gone up to about 35% now in China because of all the coal plants that they're building. Coal plants. Let's take, what is this? Despite record renewable growth, China is still betting on coal. China's power sector emissions fell in 2025 for the first time in a decade, but a rebound in coal-fired generation raises doubts about whether the decline will last. Well, let's see. China's coal power output rose in early 2026. Yes, they're building new coal power plants, fueling concerns that last year's drop in power sector emissions may be temporary, despite record growth in renewable energy. Coal-fired generation rose again during the first 4 months of the year, pushing power sector emissions higher. Though they remain below 2024 levels, analysts say the rebound raises questions about whether last year's decline represents a lasting structural shift. The resurgence also comes as China continues to rapidly approve and construct new coal-fired power plants. So, and by the way, also, China fudges their numbers on all this stuff all the time. So you can assume this is actually much worse. So what were they saying again? What were these wise men saying?
China is on its way to being the first, petro zero economy. I mean, they
objectively, demonstrably false.
They are going to be the first electro superpower.
Demonstrably false.
Which we could have been.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
now we're going to have to buy it from them when this goes away and we come to our senses. We won't have that industry like China.
Buy it from them. What they're already selling all of your solar panels. Guess what? That's not working. Check out what's happening in Europe. All right, with the windmills and the solar panels. German hospitals didn't have AC because of their energy shortage during their heat wave. You should never listen to these people. They know nothing.
China does.
No, and by the way, it's both sides of the aisle. We have in the state of California, we have now the most regressive policy toward residential solar, distributed solar collection and storage.
We were good for a minute.
But even under Gavin Newsom, the CPUC has allowed PG&E and SoCal Edison to push California into the most regressive policy toward distributed solar and energy. They do not want people off the crack pipe of their product. They do not want people collecting energy behind the meter.
Maybe it's because you can't run a modern technological society off windmills and solar panels. Have you considered that? Again, take a look around at the wokest countries, the greenest, the most green revolution countries, okay? Germany's starting to build coal plants again because reality hit them, okay? Because they made terrible decisions following, I guess, listening to people like you, right? It's disastrous. Your economy is cheap, plentiful energy. You don't have it, you go from being a wealthy country to a poor country. Again, not even being able to have air conditioning in your hospitals, like in the third world. So, yes, once again, they know nothing. The sad thing is, how many people that watch this and actually believe it think that they know anything about anything? Everything they're saying is just false and stupid and childish. All right. What are the comments underneath? Let's take a look. Let's see. Yeah. John Kolb, moronic. Energy consumption by source China. Let's see. Yeah, there's coal right there. See, it's over half coal. And probably a lot like the worst kind of coal. Like I believe it's called lignite too. They're probably burning a lot of that. They are burning coal incessantly. What the F is he talking about? Breitbart says, probably didn't mention that on the CCP tour bus. Let's see. All right. Really dumb. And by the way, just to add on to this, the embarrassment of this, the IPCC, the UN backed climate organization, right, has repealed its apocalyptic predictions. It's all just modeling, by the way, right? They just stick numbers in a computer with something as infinitely complex as climate and then project years ahead in these models, right? Well, even the IPCC now, which is the authority to which the other authorities appeal, has said, well, actually, these apocalyptic projections, they're not actually real. And in fact, nobody serious was ever actually talking about anything other than GDP points, to deal with consequences. So, yeah. Anyway, don't listen to Edward Norton and Ted Danson. They're both libtards that know nothing. All right, let's get rid of these tabs. Oh dear. We're getting to the silly stuff, the really silly stuff. FD, I'm not going to just keep saying it with the silent D. I can't. I support giving away other people's property, just not my own. Well, if people want to give away their property, I'm fine with that. Give it to me. I'll take it. And then I won't give it away. Let's see. Riga says, China is anything but eco-friendly. What drugs is he smoking? I guess it's just Hollywood crack. Let's see. I'm just going to say duck. Says that Ed Norton wants to make sure his upcoming movies are China approved. He doesn't want to make a John Cena mistake. Well, John Cena immediately started apologizing and groveling in Chinese, actually, which was actually impressive that he could grovel to the Chinese Communist Party in Chinese, or I guess what, Mandarin or whatever it was. But yeah, I mean, that is a big slice of money, right? The Chinese market is they get a smaller cut. I think they only get like 25% of the box office there, but yeah, it's still a lot of money. And maybe that comes into it. Maybe he's just really retarded. Could just be retarded. All right, hold on a sec. What are we doing? An hour and 17 into this. What's going on here? So here is the future mayor of Hamilton, Ontario, apparently. Is this Hamilton? Ryan Garrettson posted this. This Hamilton mayoral candidate, Scarlett, who is a trans woman with disabilities. Who doesn't have disabilities these days? I mean, you have to have something. It's the coin of the realm. You have to be oppressed in some way. There has to be some way that society is oppressing you. So you got to have at least some sort of disability that you can feel you're being oppressed by, the culture at large, by white supremacy or capitalism or something. Again, that's the coin of the realm in Canada these days. But in any case, takes questions from a puppet and answers questions with a puppet. And this is running against Andrea Horwath, who's also, she's NDP, lefty. Canada is in collapse. If she wins, it's probably a little worse than Andrea Horwath winning. I mean, I guess she's supposed to be the sane one, but let's take a look.
We have Scarlett Gillespie here. Who's that? Why, she's running for mayor of Hamilton.
Surprise! Woo! Hello, everybody. How are you all doing?
Now, you were already asked jokingly why you are running for Hamilton. You were already asked jokingly why you're running for mayor of Hamilton. Would you like to give a more, I just remembered about the puppets. Would you like to give a more nuanced answer about why you're running for mayor of Hamilton?
Absolutely. All right. I'm a City Housing Hamilton resident, a working class trans woman living with disabilities, and I've seen how the city neglects the building I live in. My building at the Cumberland City Housing Hamilton building was going to be another Jamesville. And for those who don't know what that means, it was going to be left to rot.
Have Scarlett Gillespie.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Also, by the way, a big, so it's a trans person who's a big advocate for sex work. So if you want to go to, if she wins, if they, them wins, and you want to get get a hand job and close your eyes and pretend you're in Thailand, I guess that'll be it. I guess you could do that at this point. At that point. So I don't know. I mean, it's a kooky candidate, you can say. Will this person win? Probably not. But Canada, who knows at this point? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, have you seen Toronto's mayor? Olivia Chow? Batshit crazy. So who knows? I mean, half the politicians in Canada are actually batshit crazy. Let's see. Oh, what's this? Alexander Zoltan posted this. And let's see how money is being wasted in British Columbia. Canadian politicians are great at this. The BC government has no money left for schools or hospitals, but spent millions on Resilience BC, a program which produces videos of fictional hate crimes that never occurred. So, yes, British Columbia has an NDP premier. So, basically, the Canadian Communist Party at this point. They're not good at running economies. They're very good at wasting money and virtue signaling constantly about everything. And if anything, and whatever goes wrong, it's always the fault of racism or some sort of phobia. Let's take a look. Hate has no place in BC. But what if you hate hate, right? Because I hate hate. So am I allowed to hate hate in BC? Because they're saying here, hate has no place in BC. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Let's continue.
Hate has no place in BC. Everyone in British Columbia has a right to feel safe and participate in their community. Hate crimes come in many different forms. Some hate crimes can be obvious, like physical assault. Others can be more indirect, such as property damage and harassment.
Who would do this?
Nobody, because this is all made up. Right? These aren't real crimes. This was written as propaganda, as NDP communist propaganda. Let's continue.
Some hate crimes might not seem serious, but may also be prosecutable.
You know those paths for running, right? You and your wheelchair are in the way.
Oh my gosh.
That didn't happen. That did not happen. And, you know, it seems like they're trying to kind of push a message. It seems like they're always trying to it seems like they're always trying to push a message that there's only one group of people that has hate in their hearts. And I know that's not true. I know it's not just white people that are capable of hate. I know that it's all people, all humans, because unlike radical leftists, the modern left, which is basically all just radical left, Liberal Party, again, it's not your father's Liberal Party. Justin Trudeau let us know it's a progressive party now and a radical one at that. So all the leftist parties in Canada are radical at this point. But unlike them, I don't see anybody else as junior members of humanity like they do. The NDP sees everybody who's not white as junior members of humanity, right? That need to be protected. That they are the, all-consuming mother, and these are their children. These are their slow children in their minds, right? They do not have agency. I think that they do. I think they have free choice. I think they have agency. I don't think they need me to protect them. I think they can do a fine job themselves. But this is the when you think like that, what you end up with is just constant propaganda like this. And again, I know it's not only white people that are capable of hate, right? There's another group of people that seems to have done 50,000 things related to hate globally since 9/11. How come we never see anything about that here? It's interesting, isn't it? Anyway, hate has no place in BC. Trying to legislate a human emotion is the most Orwellian thing imaginable. Thought crime, literal thought crime. Anyway, let's move on. And again, none of this actually happened. All right. Go back here for a second. F Duck says, I want to vote for the puppet. I would vote for the puppet over the person. Wait a second, they're the same person. Damn it. Can't vote for the puppet either. Let's see. Spambot says, Ed Norton must have some awesome drugs to believe that stuff. Where can we get that mind-altering drug? Hollywood. F Duck says, you don't want to know what else she uses that sock for. Oh, no. Are you suggesting that she might put her female wiener in it. I don't know. Yuck. Spambot says the NDP are what the USA's Democrats want for the states. They're basically the same thing. Democratic Socialists of America and NDP are basically the same thing. They both want destruction of Western civilization. Elf Support says, what's NDP? It's a new Democrat party, which it used to be a working class union party. And at one point, they even displaced the Liberals to become the official opposition. But they've gone completely off the deep end woke. They're just it's basically now just, I don't know, pick your critical studies department at an Ivy League university, and that's what they think. Completely lost the plot. Spambot says, Canada's far left communist socialist party. Yep. They don't care. They don't even seem to care about the unions anymore, right? They certainly don't care about the working class. Now it's all just gender wang and stuff, and destroying Canada. New Democratic Party is what those letters stands for. Spambot says, New Democratic Party. I say it's needles, drugs, and poverty. Yeah, that's actually an apt description right there. Needles, drugs, and poverty. All right. Elf Support says new parties after 1917 are typically manipulated by the Communist Party Soviet Union. Well, there's so much zombie Soviet active measures that exist. If you take a look at the rhetoric around like Palestine, Gaza, it's all just stuff from that was being pushed by the communists. I made a big long video about this. I do the rare like 40-minute long video. But I made a long video about it, that the rhetoric you hear around it, the colonization, they're colonizers, all this stuff comes from starting in the 50s from the Soviet Union, right? When Israel turned to the West instead of to Russia, instead of to communism, that made them the enemy. It's a geopolitically important spot. So they became the enemies of the Soviet Union, right? And the Soviet Union was even publishing stuff like protocols of the Elders of Zion and distributing it through the Baltic states. They made Israel a scapegoat for resistance movements throughout the Soviet Union, especially in the Soviet bloc countries. And it all dates back. You can see the pamphlets. I showed the pamphlets right that they printed back then, and it's all just the same stuff. So when you see the people on TikTok or wherever, or YouTube or whatever, spouting all of their Palestine stuff, it's all stuff that was actually written. A lot of it's word for word, just from old Soviet propaganda. A lot of people just going around spouting, again, zombie Soviet propaganda. It's there. You can watch the video. I didn't make it up. But that zombie propaganda on everything, like obviously anti-capitalism, that has infested, they planted the seeds and it has since grown and infested like in Canada, pretty much every institution, certainly academia across the Western world, now totally captured. All right. So I think we got everything there. All right, let's get rid of that. Let's do the meme review, shall we? Let me have a sip of rant juice first. What are we, an hour and 30 minutes? I want to remind anybody, just the people on YouTube, everybody else don't worry about it, but on YouTube, subscribe to the second channel. It's about 10 months old now. We need just under a couple hundred new subscribers to get this channel monetized. All of the clip videos are going here now. Look at this, Ma'am Danny's commies. You want to know about that? Trump deranged granny. You want to know? You want to know about that, don't you? Appears warning: Carney censorship state. You want to know about that, don't you? Subscribe to Radio Baloney News. It's the only place you get all of these fine videos, all these fine clip videos. Don't let the algorithm win. Let's see. Meme review. Dolt for the meme. Well, let's take a look. A group of fishes called a school. Americans. Okay, that's funny. That's a good one. That is pretty good. All right. What do we got here? Ex Habib. Somebody said Montana looks like Joe Biden sniffing Idaho, and I can't unsee it. It looks weirdly exactly like Joe Biden sniffing Idaho. And he's trying to wonder where he's trying to figure out how he can get the adrenochrome out of it. Terrifying. It's actually terrifying. And I think this is an old one. Yeah, like 2023 here. Oldie but goodie. What's this from Marina? Let's see. Move over, ladies. There's a new girl in town. Uh-oh. It's a new and improved woman with a boner. Oh, dear. At some point, this madness is going to end, right? Like, when did it go from, okay, well, adults can do what they want, to, no, everybody has to believe I'm actually a woman now. And also, by the way, everybody's kids has to be transed and permanently medicalized and sterilized and mutilated. Or you're a bigot, or you have a phobia, an irrational fear. When did that happen exactly? Has anybody pinpointed the moment? All right. Anyway, yeah, get out of here, you boring actual woman. Let's see. Marina posted this too. The truth about liberal virtue signaling. What's this? Hate has no home here. Unless it's hate for Trump, his supporters, white men, Christians, plus conservatives. Yeah, the hate has no home here, people. We're celebrating wildly on social media when Charlie Kirk was horribly murdered in public. They're also celebrating when Trump was almost assassinated. I mean, he got hit in the ear. And if he'd been actually murdered, assassinated, they would have been celebrating. They'd still be celebrating now. Right? Hate has no home here unless you're somebody that we don't agree with. Then anything's on the table. Let's see. What's this? Mostly peaceful memes. Does he bite? No, but he can hurt you in other ways. Having a dog doesn't make you a mom. Oh, no. Oh, no. Somebody, the dog finally said it to her. People have wanted to say it to her before. They thought, this is unhealthy. It's kind of weird, actually, as she pretends that that's her child, but it's not really. Maybe we should say something. We don't think it's healthy, but we know what's going to happen. We know what's going to happen. Yeah, did not take it well. What's this here from the Babylon Bee? More Mormons waiting till later. More Mormons waiting till later in life, like 22 to get married. It's funny because it's not that long ago in world history where at like 17, you were a man, right? And you're supposed to be looking to get like married soon, start having kids, start your career. And now we call like people in their 20s kids. Like they're not. They're adults, right? They're wasting time if people are pretending that they're children, if they're pretending that they're children themselves. Anyway, I got no beef with the Mormons. Let's see. Around town memes. What's going on? I know what's going on here. Oh, it's that lady basketball player. She's pointing at it. Oh, dear. What is that? Is that balls? What is it exactly? Looks like a bulge there. I think it's probably just a giant bush, like a giant 70s bush. That's what I'm going to go with. I think it's a giant 70s bush. I think. I don't know. What does she think? I don't know. She's suspicious. Pure poison we are forced to fund. CBC News condensed cream of bullshit. 100% liberal propaganda. Slop. Forced to fund. Does anybody remember how during the election, Mark Carney promised the CBC an extra $150 million on top of the $1.4 billion it was already getting? But Mark Carney promised them an extra $150 billion if he got elected. I mean, he didn't say, you can have it if I get elected. But obviously, it's implicit, right? They're not getting it unless he gets elected. Mark Carney threatened to turn their headquarters into family housing. So, yeah, it's not, they know who pays them. And it's not just that. It's that they're all leftists already. They're already aligned with progressive politics and policies at the CBC and throughout the mainstream media in Canada, almost all of it, with some notable exceptions. Pure poison we are forced to fund. Here's a tip. Don't believe anything that comes out of Rosemary Barton's teleprompter. Because you know what? Even she doesn't believe it. Skeletor. What's this? I'm not very hungry. I've already ordered your. Hold on, let me redo this one. Skeletor posted this from the Skeletor account. I'm not very hungry. I've already ordered you fries, so you can stop pretending. Isn't that the truth? Isn't that always the way? Because you know what? If you're going to say you're not hungry, you better not be hungry, because I want the fries. I want all of the fries, right? The ones that I know you're going to take, which is going to be more than just a few, by the way. I wanted those. That's why I ordered them. I want all the fries. Didn't want to share them. Didn't say, hey, do you want to share some fries? Said, I want fries. And I want all the fries, right? And if I don't get to have all the fries, then I'm going to be resentful. I'm going to be angry. And I'm going to remember it. Anyway, just order your own fries. Chip Mars. What's this? Affordable housing? Best I can do is a condo developer bailout. Well, that's not going very well. Not going very well at all. Are we going to talk about it? Nah. We'd have to get into this so everybody knows what we're talking about. Anyway, we're not going to do it because I just don't have the energy. Let's move on to the next one. John's memes. Let's see. Hanging out with friends in the backyard. What people think I mean. What we actually do. Somehow. This is why being a man is great. What's this here? Maria Botha posted that. Let's see. Tell me the truth. I'm ready to hear it. The society John Lennon's Imagine describes exists in North Korea. Oh no, she said the truth. She can't handle the truth. I have maintained forever that Imagine is an idiotic song. By far John Lennon's worst song. Worse than Revolution 9. And it's an idiotic, childish idea, obviously. It is like high school yearbook poetry quality. That's what it is. Again, from a guy who didn't, he may have imagined not having anything, but he didn't give everything away. He kept it. So while he imagined owning nothing, he actually owned lots and employed lawyers to make sure that he kept lots and had lots of stuff and kept accumulating stuff. So even he didn't believe it. But I hate when people, and even the song itself is cheesy and boring anyway. It's a terrible, terrible song. And I like John Lennon. I think he did a lot of great stuff. But that song is pure garbage. Pure commie garbage. In fact,
no offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
It's exactly like commie gobbledygook. That's exactly what it is, Norm. And nobody should ever listen to it. If I ever become emperor of the world, like that song will be stricken from, maybe you could go to a museum to listen to it, right? Maybe. Let's see. Unfortunate conflict of interest posted this. This cartoon gets at it as well as anything. So what's going on here? I want to help the poor. Then why don't you start a business and employ some of them? I'd rather just give them money. I'm not sure if that's the best solution, but okay, it's your money. Not really. I didn't mean my money. I meant your money. This puts me in mind of that Nicholas Kristof article about Elon Musk and how he's responsible for like 14 million deaths because he cut waste and fraud with Doge. By these people's logic, if there's a gas tank empty somewhere in the world and somebody doesn't get driven to the hospital, that's the United States' fault. Right? By their logic, it would be immoral to literally have anything. It would be immoral to ever take a bite of food yourself again because you could give it to somebody else. It makes no sense. And of course, in this, this person, this fictitious person in here, this cartoon person who represents millions and millions of real people, doesn't really want to have nothing themselves. They don't want to give away all their stuff. They want to give other people's stuff. And mostly they want to just give your stuff to themselves. All right, let's move on. What's going on here? I knew it. Oh my God, they're the same person. It's a Hamburglar and Hillary Clinton. Oh, damn it. I hope he doesn't have any information that would lead to the arrest of Hillary Clinton. Let's see. What's this? America Real. Here's Skeletor again. Starting a reverse OnlyFans. Gonna send random people pics of my balls and gooch until they pay me $15.99 a month to stop. If only you could. I mean, if only that was viable. Can we figure it out? Let's see. Marty up north posted this. This is a good one. Let's see. G7 countries in a recession stand here. There's Mark Carney, proudly standing there by himself. Yeah, not good at running a country somehow. Let's see. Where's all my Gen X brothers and sisters? Gen X, Generation X, 1965 to 1980. The last great generation before all the pussies were born. This may actually be a picture of me when I was 3. It might be. It could be. It's plausible. That was from Mila Joy. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Well, I know what happened. Helicopter parenting happened. That's what happened. And, kids weren't allowed to just run around, just be free range anymore. Run around all day. You just come home for dinner. That's it. Yeah. Well, mom and dad were at home drinking margaritas in the summer and chain smoking in the backyard. I'm telling you, those were better days. Better days. It's all right. I think we got to the end of it now. So we're back to the last stuff we did. All right. There we go. Let's get back to the chat. What do we got? F-Duck says, I'm pretty sure socks are part of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Food, water, sleep, shelter, socks. Well, it depends on the season. Let's see. Spambot says it will end with the Islamic invaders enforcing Sharia rules. You mean the crazy people running for mayor in Hamilton, Ontario? Yeah, that's not going to work under Sharia. Well, there won't even be elections at that point, right? So, yeah. But there'll still be rooftops. So I don't know why these people don't understand that. I don't know why they don't understand that. They should be terrified. But Gaza, for some reason. Let's see. I guess it's because the Islamists also want to destroy Western civilization, so that's why the leftists like them, probably. Spambot says that is not a camel toe. I think he's talking about where are we? Hold on. Oh, I think we did miss something. Right-wing extremists. What? Southern Poverty Law Center. I think we did do that one before. That was a while ago. But you guys remember that? The Southern Poverty Law Center was funding the extremists that they were warning everybody about. I guess if there's a shortage, you got to come up with it somehow. I mean, how are you going to get fundraising? There's no extremists, right? So you have to create them. Hold on. What is, here we go. the basketball lady. Let's see. That is not a camel toe, Spambot says. I didn't claim it was a camel toe. I said it might be a giant 70s bush. And here, Ringus says that's a big bush, right? So it's either, balls or bush. I think it's a bush. I think it's a 70s bush. All right. F-Duck says, you killed your girlfriend by not sharing your French fries. That's what it seems like. That's the reaction. Let's see. All right. Let's move on. What do we got next? What are we? Are we an hour and 47 minutes in? Wow. All right. Canada immigration. Mark Carney seems to have convinced the majority of Canadians that somehow he's fixed the immigration problem. He has not. We had the highest immigration per capita in the world for a couple of years there. And this is a generational issue now, right? It's not something that can even be fixed in one term. Temporary and permanent resident targets for 2026. So when they say target, right, or estimate, it's always going to be a lot more. But this is 2026. This is their target. 155,000 new student arrivals, 230,000 new temporary worker arrivals, 380,000 new permanent residents. That's 765,000 people, folks. And Mark Carney's fixed immigration? This is insane. Let's see. But they can say, oh, well, it's, 49% fewer than last year's target. So what? So what? Do you know what the solution is to reverse it, right? We actually need people leaving the country, not still increasing, right? We need the population to actually go down. 230,000 new temporary worker arrivals. That's 37% fewer than last year's target. So there's way too many. How many millions are here right now? Nobody seems to actually know, by the way, least of all the government, or at least they're not telling us. 380,000 new permanent residents. They'll all become citizens. Under Harper, I think the height was about 250,000. That was under Harper. And it was too many back then. Now, 380,000 with Canada in the state that it's in, with the housing crisis that it's in, with the inflation problem, with the surging crime, with just everything breaking down, with the healthcare system breaking down. Really? Oh, well, that's 4% fewer than last year's target. So this isn't fixing anything. This is still making it worse. And need I remind you, these are their targets. Won't you think it's going to be more than this? I've got a feeling it's going to be more than this. I think this is the least amount that they felt confident putting out. What a joke. Yeah, so Carney is Trudeau. Carney is Turbo Trudeau, and it's just going to keep getting worse. This is WWG1WGA. The Canadian federal government decided to flush out their local talent and just announced new express entry for immigrant categories of skilled military recruits into the Canadian Armed Forces. Oh, so mercenaries. Let's take a look.
We're also adding categories for candidates with work experience in transport occupations, including pilots, aircraft mechanics, and inspectors. We've identified these sectors as areas in critical need. Strengthening those helps us move goods across the country and to new markets, supporting trade, supply chains, and economic resilience. And finally, we are creating a new category for skilled military recruits to attract highly skilled foreign military applicants.
Again, so just mercenaries then, people with no connection to Canada. That sounds like it may not be a great idea to bring those people into the Canadian military. Let's continue.
Eligible recruits with a job offer from the Canadian Armed Forces, including doctors, nurses, pilots, can be invited to apply for permanent residence. They will be subject.
Not even permanent residents. They're going to be invited to apply for permanent residence. I mean, okay, yeah, they're going to be screened. Oh, yeah, we trust the Liberal government with screening all these people. They've done such a great job with our like 4,000 new criminal organizations in Canada since Trudeau came in. Sure, yeah, that's going to work. Oh, now my fears have been allayed. My fears have been put to rest. Thank you, Lena Diab. Let's go.
To the same security and all military requirements. This new category will support our government's commitment to strengthen our armed forces, to defend our sovereignty, and to keep Canadians safe.
By filling it full of foreigners with no connection to Canada. Great. Nice. Just what we wanted to hear. Of course, we expected no less, though, from this Liberal government. What's going on here from Wiretap Media? Minister Lena Diab meets with provincial counterparts to further undermine Canada's democracy by pushing mass immigration into rural Canada after destroying our cities. So, yeah, if you decide that you think, well, maybe I'll go to a small town and that's still something like Canada, don't worry. She's going to ruin that, too.
We are in a nation-building era, and immigration will be central to that work. Our approach to immigration must be balanced and well-managed. It has to complement our domestic workforce, not replace it, while attracting and keeping the best talent from around the world.
Why do we think anything is going to be different? Why would we believe this person? Why? They just keep saying the same things. They just keep saying everything's great. And don't worry, we won't do all the things that we're already doing, that we're obviously going to keep doing.
We will prioritize provincial and territorial needs. We will respect the role and continue our targeted efforts to support small and rural communities. We know our economic immigration programs and services can be improved to better support national, regional, and local economic needs with less duplication and fewer delays. We will strengthen our programs and coordinate our efforts to improve settlement and integration outcomes. We'll work to better recognize foreign credentials and collaborate with colleagues from
what they should be doing. I think what a sane government would be doing would just be stopping it now, all immigration now. That 380,000 new permanent residents should go to zero, right? The foreign students should go to zero. I mean, they don't even know how many of these students are just coming over completely fraudulently and just becoming criminals, joining gangs. It's not like a small amount. It's lots of them. They're becoming extortionists in Canada. That's the education that they're getting. Yeah, it's all just, why would anybody believe a word these people say? These half-witted dingbats like her. It's depressing. Let's see. All right. Let's go back to the chat for a second. I might have to take a short bathroom break, you guys. But first, let's take a look at the chat here. Radio streamer, how you doing? He says, I've come here to hate commies and launch anti-commie gum, and I'm never out of gum. Loads t-shirt launcher and points at chat. As long as you brought enough anti-commie gum for everybody, radio streamer. Radio streamer says, this week there are pocket constitutions on the gum pack. That's very good. F-Duck says, Canada needs the skilled military immigrants to protect against Trump annexing Canada. There's a lot of people who actually, I think, even still believe that, like, at some point Trump's going to be like riding, the head of an armored column against the ambassador, across the Ambassador Bridge or something, to like invade and militarily occupy Canada. Oh, there was some funny stuff going on when last year in the heat of it all, there was some funny stuff about like, I don't know, the like elderly curling club ladies were ready to get on the front lines at the border. Just hilarious. But Radio Stripper says, chat, I'm trying a new anti-commie weapon, pocket constitutions, but with red covers so they think it's Marx. I'm willing to bet most lefties have read neither. They won't see it coming. That's a brilliant plan, As Bembot says, they want the troops to wage war against Albertans when we declare independence. Maybe that's what they want all those foreigners in the military for. Well, I mean, it's a handy thing, too. I mean, people who have no connection to Canada, its history, or anything, if you want to use those against the population, well, they're probably better. They're a safer bet, right? Don't forget, I mean, this is the government, the Liberal Party. This is, and it was under Trudeau, but Carney he wrote an op-ed encouraging Trudeau to use the Emergencies Act, formerly the War Measures Act, to crush a peaceful protest. So, yeah, I think Mark Carney would think about, we've got just some mercenaries, foreign mercenaries in our military. You'll just literally do anything. I'm sure that's appealing to him. All right. You know what? I got to take just a couple of minutes break, you guys. Hold on. I'll be right back. Maybe I'll change the entertainment. Hold on. What else do we have? How about football? Lingerie football. It's the best football. All right. I'll be right back, you guys. All right. Thank you for your patience, everybody. This is a great time to suggest that everybody who's watching subscribe to the channel and like the stream. Get that special, very powerful radio Baloney, good karma right now. Get it right now. You might need it in these troubled times. Would you turn your back on that? I wouldn't. It's crazy. I heard about a guy who did watch the stream, liked it, didn't like or subscribe, and he died. He died like the next day, right, from super AIDS because a bat flew past him and spat on him and gave him AIDS. And it was a very, very old bat, like the world's oldest bat. And it turns out it had once belonged to Liberace. And that's how it got the super AIDS. And as everybody knows, Liberace had the most powerful AIDS that there is. So I'm just saying, bit of good karma can't hurt. All right, now what are we doing? Let's see. What's going on here? More football. All right. What are you guys talking about? F-Duck says Alberta should join China. Why are you saying these things? Terrible idea. Alberta wants to be an independent country. It's a Spambot says absolutely no. We reject being a 51st state. Okay, how about Alberta teaming up with the EU? F-Duck is messing with you. He's messing with that Spambot here. All right, I want to see where this goes. Why would we want to become a province of another communist country? That's a good... Now, Spambot takes this very, very seriously, for good reason, by the way. Canada is already in bed with China. That's true. No for EU too. Yeah, this whole Canada joining the EU thing, I mean, it's the most retarded thing I've ever heard. Obviously, nobody knows anything about what's going on in the EU. And also, like, geography, right? Let's see. Radio Streamer says, like 15, and still my fuel mileage in my car seems to have gotten better. It's that powerful, folks. The good karma from liking the stream is that powerful. Let's see. Spambot Fodder says, we want independence. He's speaking for Alberta there. All right. Anybody on YouTube, very quickly, nobody else worry about it, just YouTube people. Subscribe to the second channel, Radio Baloney News. We need under 200 new subscribers to get monetized on the channel. This is where all of the clip videos go. You must go and subscribe to this channel. It's the second channel. It's only about 10 months old. The algorithm hates it. It hates me. It hates you. It doesn't want us to join up and become more powerful than it can ever imagine. Make the algorithm cry. Make the gatekeepers weep. And subscribe to Radio Baloney News today. All right. So now let's move along. We did that. What are we at now? All right. The pipeline proposal. So, do I even want to do this? Do I even want to do this story? Is it too boring? Is it too boring? Yeah, I don't feel like doing it, to be honest. We're already 2 hours into this. I don't feel like doing it. Maybe I'll come back to it if I get some more energy. Let's see. So, Mark Carney got rid of those Chinese 100% tariffs on Canadian agricultural products by allowing 50,000 to start, 50,000 Chinese exploding spy cars into the Canadian market. And as a reward, as payment, China's imposing 73.5% preliminary tariff on Canadian pea starch. So this is called tightening the screws. They got their little foothold in, which we were warned about. We'd been warned about this, about China, that, yeah, they're not actually a good trading partner. They're actually really unreliable and ruthless and definitely worse than the United States. So here we go. Here's Mark Carney's report. This should be a humiliation for him, by the way. Humiliation. He went over to Beijing. He sat down. He pledged his allegiance to the Chinese-led New World Order. I'm telling you, nobody in that room thought that it was a Canada-led New World Order, okay? So he has had his head right up China's ass, and still, hey, 73.5% preliminary tariff on Canadian pea starch out of nowhere. And Carney must be thinking, I played ball. Do they have to humiliate me like this? Do they have to embarrass me like this? I guess they do, because it's what they do. And anybody who thought that China was going to replace the American market for Canadian exports just simply hasn't been paying attention to China. They're in the business of making cheap shit and selling it to everybody else. Okay. They're not in the business of importing things unless they absolutely have to. So China obviously was never going to replace the American market, aside from the fact that it's on the other side of the damn world. Right? The United States is right there with all those handy roads and like railway tracks and stuff. Like way easier, you know? With the United States, we don't have to worry about a giant ocean on one side, a giant ocean on the other, and a frozen wasteland to the north. The world's largest market, which is culturally very similar to Canada, is right there. Again, connected by land, like all these roads and like train tracks and stuff, the stuff that's really good for trade. So how would the media even report on this? Here's BNN Bloomberg. Will the CBC even report on this? Will they maybe give it 30 seconds at some point? Maybe it's in some dark corner of their website. Yeah, this should be a humiliation for Mark Carney. But totally predictable. What do we have here? You know what I want to talk about is, okay, we're going to go to here. All right. Rob Breckenridge posted this, and here is Mark Carney talking about Alberta's pending pipeline proposal set to be publicly unveiled on Thursday. So we're going to hear him talk out of both sides of his mouth here. He, depending on where he is, he will say that he will try and present himself as some kind of moderate, who's, some sort of moderate who's very interested in getting a pipeline done, but then also he'll sound very much like he doesn't want a pipeline to happen, depending on who he's talking to. And then sometimes it's both at the same time. Let's take a look.
Already submitted its pipeline proposal to you. And is it sufficient enough in your view to start the process of designating it a project of national interest as well as reaching an agreement on?
So Alberta has sent in their pipeline proposal, right? As per the memorandum of understanding from last year. Let's hear what Carney says.
Pathways.
Thank you. So a couple of things. One is that I will be in Alberta tomorrow evening, and looking forward to that. And we've been in close contact, the Premier and I, our teams as well. It's, as you indicated in your question, it's for Alberta to submit a proposal on or around July 1st. That's tracking well from their perspective. But then there's a process that goes that takes a few months until October before a decision is made whether or not to refer to the Major Projects Office. A variety of things that have to be followed through, a variety of stakeholders that have to be engaged. And you reference rightly Pathways in your question.
Pathways is his carbon capture scheme that Brookfield is very integrated into.
And has always been linked. All aspects of the implementation, what is now an implementation agreement, are linked. So Pathways, the reforms to the carbon market, potential pipeline, a series of other measures that are taken, including measures by the federal government.
So essentially nothing's going to happen. Nothing will happen. Like the private interests have already made it clear they're not interested in going ahead and investing in a pipeline if it has the poison pills and the memorandum of understanding, right? So carbon pricing, carbon capture, and then having to deal with infinite number of indigenous groups and get their approval. I don't know what his game is here. I mean, he's got the carbon capture for the already existing oil sands projects. So Brookfield will make money off that, and him by extension through his conflict of interest. But maybe the plan is that to for the government to make sure no private interests will fund a pipeline, but maybe then the government will, right? And then maybe he can use some Brookfield companies to do it, right? They're involved with the carbon capture stuff, right? And that way it's even more profitable for him. So I don't know what his game is exactly, but just on the face of it, it looks like nothing is going to happen. He wants to look like he's responsible, like he understands how important it is to maximize, especially now with the fiscal problems that we have that have been caused by him and Justin Trudeau. But he wants people to think he understands how, and he must understand how bad it is fiscally, but he's not actually going to do anything, right? So, unless maybe, there's some plan to just kind of further bankrupt the country by the government funding a pipeline, which then he can use to enrich his friends. What's going on here? Mark Nixon posted this. Mark Carney says Justin Trudeau's climate policy was perfect for its time. It was a complete disaster. Well, yes, everything has been a disaster. What is he saying here?
I promised you I wouldn't sugarcoat tough messages. The climate plan we inherited from the previous government was well-intentioned and well-suited for the times in which it was designed.
But wasn't it your climate plan, though? Because you were the climate finance net zero king then, right? Like you've been the UN climate finance envoy, GFANZ, the net zero banking alliance that you spearheaded, which weirdly just collapsed right before you became prime minister, which is strange, right? But you were advising Trudeau. You were his economic advisor since 2020. So isn't it kind of maybe are we wrong to think maybe this whole thing was kind of your plan, your influence? Let's keep going.
The climate crisis is still with us, and our commitment to fighting it is absolute. The certainties of the world of 2015 are long gone. Our neighborhood hasn't been this hostile since when Canada was founded. The world hasn't been this unstable geopolitically since the end of the Second World War. We must establish stability amidst this chaos. The energy.
Okay, but we're not doing that, though. Like, you've been a complete failure, or you've sabotaged the trade talks with the United States. So, big problem there. In terms of the fiscal situation in Canada, we're in it because of you, because of your policies, your net zero policies. Let's continue.
The transition will be a source of great stability in the long run. But while it's underway, it can equally be a source of disruption.
Oh, so he's talking about here, I believe, all of the massive subsidies. So the debt that he's building up, don't forget that he doubled the deficit from what Trudeau wanted to do. So all the debt is going to cause some problems, right? It's going to cause inflation for the transition to the thing that nobody else is actually doing, right? Who are we going to sell all of this so-called green oil to, by the way? Like, can you give us one, like a piece of paper with like a promise from one country somewhere that they're going to prioritize our more expensive energy because of carbon taxes and carbon capture? Like, we haven't seen it yet. We haven't seen this, right? He keeps saying it's going to make us more competitive. With who? Who are we competing with? Nobody else is doing it, right? Who needs energy the most? Europe. They're buying it from Russia, from the Middle East, from the United States, as much as they can get. None of this carbon capture, none of this net zero stuff happening there. It's almost like he's just lying for the sake of his climate finance scheme that he has a great personal financial interest in.
No country is better positioned to thrive in both eras than Canada. And we need not allow the transition from one era
if we didn't have you as prime minister, we'd be well positioned
to another to pull us apart. The goal remains the same, but as times have changed, We must change our plan to get there. We can't afford to restrain the growth of an important part of our energy mix, oil and gas, to meet a short-term goal. I want to be clear on this point. The changes we have made will mean that our emissions will be higher in the next few years than they were projected to be under the previous government's plan. But in my judgment, that plan was not sustainable.
We're no closer. We're no closer to building a pipeline. Nothing is going to come of this. It just makes just over and over and over again. We just hear the same claptrap from this guy for net zero. And why? Let's see. From the New York Times, why scientists retired the dire climate scenario used for over a decade. It's talking about the IPCC. The UN-backed climate organization, climate science organization, modeling organization, right? That has now said, oh yeah, all that terrifying stuff, all those apocalypse scenarios we gave you, yeah, those aren't going to happen. The decision to back away from a worst-case outlook raises questions about whether some risks have been overstated. I wonder. Climate group reverses course on doomsday predictions, and Trump takes a victory lap. Wrong. You may not like it if Trump takes a victory lap, but it's better than pretending that, that we're still living in an inconvenient truth. Because it turns out all those predictions were bullshit. The United Nations-backed Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, had quietly adjusted its modeling framework of a 4 to 5 degrees Celsius warming by 2100 last month. That framework had underpinned a myriad of other analyses predicting terrifying consequences for greenhouse gas emissions and just opened the door for a con artist like Mark Carney to gut the country, to pour subsidies into net zero finance boondoggles like carbon capture. I'm sure he's aware of all this. Doesn't care, right? I think the finance part is the most important part of this net zero stuff. I think it's the finance part that's the most important for Mark Carney. All right, so now we are at the last tab of the evening. Maybe we should do an ad read. Is it worth it for me? That's the question. Oh, yeah, here we go. A cool 75 cents. Let's do it. Let's go. All right, people. Access Med, powered by Trinova Health, is a revolutionary, but not communist revolutionary, that's the wrong kind, but it's a revolutionary telehealth service that offers fast, free online evaluations and free home delivery of customized, compounded medications, offering custom weight loss support, ivermectin therapy, hair restoration, cosmetic rejuvenation, custom ED treatments, wink, and more. You can complete your visit in less than 10 minutes, and that's the best kind of way to do it, an amount of minutes. And there's no subscriptions or recurring fees ever, which, again, is the best kind. We've made getting started easier than ever. Simply follow the link, choose the product or treatment that you're interested in, and then complete a quick online evaluation, which is the best kind of evaluation, as everybody knows. Within days, your custom meds will arrive to your door. Mention Rumble in the coupon code and get 10% off your first treatment. What a beautiful thing. You know what to do. My God, that was a beautiful ad. I was possessed by the spirit of the Rumble ad there. Beautiful. That was like poetry, basically. Who wrote that? Like Percy Bysshe Shelley? Is that who wrote that ad copy? Because it was beautiful. It was a pleasure and an honor to read it. And again, a cool 75 cents profit for Radio Baloney, which in Canadian money is about, I think, $18,000. So not a bad, minute of work there. The question is, how did you guys like the ad read? Rosie says, no subscriptions, no recurring fees, no commie hate. There was commie hate, 8.1 out of 10. Well, guess what? 8.1 out of 10. I'm no mathematician, but I do believe that's still the most you can get out of 10. There was a little bit of commie hate right at the beginning. I think you missed it. F Duck says, if Mark Carney doesn't solve climate change, then nobody will. I love it. Oh, man. I'm enjoying F Duck in the chat tonight. Rosie says, written by Shelley, read by a commie. Not read by a commie, by an anti-communist. Anti-communist. What the hell is going on here? What universe am I in right now? Let's see. All right. F Duck says 69 more ad reads and you can buy some steak. Make it a cool 100. Cool 100. All right. It is Canada after all. All right. What are you guys doing? What are you guys talking about? All right. Let's get to the last tab. We don't actually have much in here. Eric Lasuya. I don't know how to fucking say that. Jesus Christ. Oh, by the way, we're going to have to end the YouTube part of the. We always end the YouTube part of the stream here because usually this last bookmark, there's like music and stuff, and then there's like the broken copyright system on YouTube. It's just too much of a hassle. So we end the YouTube part here, but we'll be continuing on Rumble, on X, and on Locals. And we'll be back on YouTube on Friday, 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern time. So if you're not going over to the other streams right now, hope to see you then. Good night, YouTube. Oh, Stalin Tube is not looking over our shoulder anymore.